Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Nightflyers Season 1, Episode 1. It is called All That We Left Behind. So, this is Episode 1, so we'll start spoiler free, and we'll warn you in the middle before we go into spoilers. We'll give you a sense of how the quality and how good it is before we start delving into sort of the spoilery plot details. So this is Sci-Fi's new show, which they're treating like an event. That they're doing this one a night, essentially, with a small break in the middle. Over 2
At the
weeks.
weekend, yeah.
Sunday to Thursday, then Sunday to Thursday. So by the time this review goes out, actually, episode 2 will have aired. So, I mean, we'll be behind already, but...
Yeah.
Episode 1 review. So, this is the one that's, it's based on a thing by George R.R. Martin, right?
Yeah, it's a story he wrote.
Yeah.
Might be a short story.
Yeah. It may actually be a limited series. I don't think I've ever actually heard
it is a limited series.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually heard them say that, but the plot would just imply to me that it's
definitely a limited.
So we have this 10-episode show. This is episode 1, and it's about a crew on a ship called the Nightflyer who are going out to the Vulcan. And I thought they were saying Vulcan for about the first 5 times they said this. I turned on the subtitles to see what they were saying because I kept hearing Vulcan.
Yeah, I had the subtitles on from the start, so I never had that problem, but I could understand why.
And I was like, wait, did they say Vulcan? You're a space show, you can't be using Vulcan for a thing in space. Like, Star Trek's a thing, it exists. This is blatant, but it's Vulcan. So it's Vulcan mixed with Velcro. That's what I'm taking it as. So they go out to this alien entity of some kind. They know it's an alien entity, and they've been trying to communicate with it for years, by sending radio waves, signals, all sorts of things, probes, and it's never responded. But our main character, Carl, he's got this crazy idea to use an L1 being the highest class of psychic, which most people don't like because there's been some violent incidents in the past where psychics will go kind of nuts and take control of people. There was apparently a massacre of some kind on, I think it was Lunar Base 70-something. I don't know the number, but it was lunar something.
78.
Sure, 78, whatever.
But, I mean...
which actually, one nice touch I did like is when they were flying past the moon, you could see like a city of lights on the moon, as if there was like a full colony.
Yeah.
It was a nice little touch.
You said one nice touch you did like, implying that you're not so positive overall.
I have implied no such thing.
That felt like an implication.
This was a gem of a pilot. I cannot wait to watch the rest. There was intrigue, there was mystery, there was action, suspense, tension.
And now how you really felt?
I liked the opening scene.
Yeah, it was the best part of the episode.
Because I was like, oh, come into this. Okay, we're on a spaceship. Whatever's going on is going to make. Because even the trailer implied this is not a spoiler to say that there's going to be some element that makes them go crazy over the course of this trip. And we start with a scene that's in the end of the story, and it kind of shows you like one of the main characters in danger, and the sort of the beacon going out to say, hey, this is a warning, don't board the ship.
Yeah, I remember that distinctly in the trailer.
Yeah, and don't bring this ship back to Earth because it'll presumably spread whatever's going on.
Yeah,
and that seems fine. It's fine. It's basically The Shining on a spaceship.
Yeah,
that's basically it. And then we come back to quote unquote present day of the future and set up what the story actually is, and set up the actual crew, who everyone is, and what the plan is, and so on and so on. So where to begin? First of all, most of the characters are bland as shit. I'd say about 70% of the acting is also really bad. Not all of them, but there's a lot of I think the main dude is really bland. I think the psychic is a horrendous.
Do you know what's really bad about? He was one of the serial killers in Mindhunter.
Was he?
Yeah.
Which one was he?
It was second or third one.
Yeah, it wasn't the first. The first one was Kemper, the big guy.
Yeah, it wasn't him. But I know he was definitely in Mindhunter. He was one of the serial killers. I'm confident on that. And it's like, okay, we were impressed with all of the serial killers in that show. They all had their
I
own
remember.
presence.
He's the one who crushed the can. I remember.
Yeah.
I had to think about it, but yeah,
and
I remember.
They all had their own presence.
Yeah, no, it was fine. It might have arguably been the weakest one, but I mean that's still good company.
It was a high bar.
Yeah.
And then here he's doing a psycho thing again.
Do you know what this tells me?
Good.
Or that tells me, I knew this already, but what this, I think, shows to anyone who needs proof is how important directing is when it comes to performances.
Yeah.
And not only directing the performance itself, but how to show the performance in the direction. Because every time it did this close-up of his face as he was going like this, for audio listeners, I've got my head tilted down and looking sort of evil at the camera. That's what he did. Every time he was doing some psychic stuff, he did this like close-up shot of him like looking evil at that. And every time it made me laugh because it looked ridiculous. And
and so I mean, like in terms of his persona, he's not a million miles away from a serial killer in Mindhunter.
Not a million miles, no.
No, I mean a bit toned up, sure, and that's the point. Suddenly, someone who was at least perfectly fine in that show, because I definitely don't remember complaining about him. We get here, and he's kind of awful.
Yeah. So, not feeling the characters, not feeling the. I mean, the positive things I'll say. I like that touch on the moon. There's a few little world building things I liked about that. I like the casual mention of some massacre that happened on a lunar base. Like I'm like, okay, right, I'm liking a little bit of the world building. Production value is pretty decent. Like it's not as good as The Expanse, say, but I would say it's better than some other sci-fi shows that I've seen.
I think it's technically good, even though aesthetically, I don't like a lot of it. In terms of the budget and the quality, it's fine. I'm just a lot of like the interior of the ship I find really just not to my taste. It's kind of a bit bland.
I felt like that was more to do with how it was shot than what the actual set was.
It could be. I'm thinking specific. I can picture the hallways with the curves, and I'm like, eh.
Because it definitely looked better whenever it went to an exterior. I thought the space stuff looked pretty good.
It did actually. I was surprised they cut to the exterior a lot. Like they know that this looks pretty good, so they're like, yeah, let's use this as much as we can.
Yeah, the exterior stuff looked quite good. Inside the ship, it felt flat because of the direction, but I didn't necessarily have a problem with the design of the ship necessarily in and of itself.
Fair enough.
And again, obviously, I'm thinking of The Expanse because it's kind of the recent space show that has.
It's the closest comparison. Yeah.
And I was just thinking about how they film things inside the ships and comparing it to this, and this felt a bit more just sort of typical TV set.
I'll tell you what I don't get, especially compared to The Expanse. I don't get any sense of scale inside the ship.
Sure, yeah.
It just feels like a collection of rooms. I couldn't place any geography of it.
Yeah, no, I mean that's arguably a fault if you want to do that. I feel like most good space ships in movies and TV will give you some sense of geography. I think some get away with it out of like. I don't want to compliment Star Trek for this because I feel like Star Trek almost just gets away with it because they only usually have like 3 different rooms on the ship, right? They'll have the bridge, they'll have the med bay, and they'll have the. I mean, I've got a few more. I suppose they've got the cafeteria and they've got the maybe the captain's room, right? They've got a few
some
things.
Of the quarters.
Yeah. But they've got a hallway, obviously, but I never really necessarily get a sense of
transporter room.
Yeah.
No.
But where are these on the ships? Like they feel all disconnected compared to say something like you say the Expanse ships, or even I think Firefly is a really good example of where.
Oh, it is, yeah.
In fact, I mean, case in point, the opening of Serenity actually has a oneer going through the entire ship. You can trace it the entire way.
No, I agree. I think Firefly is a great example of this. And not just in TV. If you look at movies, anything like Alien or Star Wars, a lot of the ship geography is really
to the point where, like, if you imagine the docking door in in the Firefly ship in Serenity, I can sort of visualize going in that. I can go up the stairs to the right, and then to the right of that is Jane's room. I can tell you where Jane's room is, and then Malzano's on the left. I mean, I don't know exactly where every door is, but I can kind of get you there.
You can ballpark your way around it.
Yeah, and then you go through the kitchen to get up into the bridge.
Yeah, on this ship, I couldn't even tell you which ones are on different levels.
Yeah.
It was very unclear for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, it is a much bigger ship with a much bigger crew, so I suppose that's part and parcel for having a bigger.
It is, but sometimes I wasn't sure, is this supposed to be a different part of the ship, or is this just over there? It was hard to actually gauge that at times.
Yeah, it's maybe something I didn't consider as much, and I think it's low on the list of my complaints, though. I feel like that's not something that would bother me if I was into the story. Like, I'd be like, fine with this, well, okay, whatever.
No, it's not a huge important thing. It's just one of those that I think the bar is higher than this, even in just on something like that, where it's kind of something I expect out of shows with spaceships, and I expect to be able to understand the layout to some extent, at least in a modern show. And here I just don't.
Yeah, okay. So, I think the premise is fine. Like, I mean, the premise is right up our alley. It sounds good. Like, yeah, we're going to make first contact. A psychic might be the first thing that can connect to them.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds fine. It's just all the characters are either bland or actively bad.
Yeah, I thought the main, Carl, the main dude whose planet is, I thought he was painfully generic. Everything about him being upset about his dead daughter, who's been dead for a while, felt very cliched to me.
Yeah, this isn't really not that good, is it?
No, I wouldn't even say it's that bad. I would say it's frustratingly mediocre.
Yeah.
It's not garbage. It's not yeah, what's some of the shit we've done in the past couple of years?
I think it's I think mediocre's been low. I think it's definitely below average. I can think of, like, in terms of, like, the writing, in terms of beyond characters, the pacing of the show and the episode.
The pacing's rough. It's a full hour long, this first. I don't know if they all are, but this first one's like a full hour.
Oh, it should not have been.
And yeah, it feels padded out, and a lot of it does feel like they're trying to do this Mystique thing where I'm sure there's going to be a twist with the captain, and because the captain never appears.
I'm pretty sure I already know what the twist is.
Yeah, he never appears physically in the bridge or with anyone else. He always like sends a hologram of himself because he never leaves his quarters, and it's like,
yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't exist.
Yes, yes. Oh well, he could exist, but he's not a human. He's like an AI, or
he's a computer. He's part of the ship,
or something else. I don't know. Or he does exist, but he's an alien already, so he's hiding what he looks like. I don't know.
Yeah.
But this is pure speculation. We don't know. This is just the setup for his character. But he had some mumbo jumbo about intimacy with one of the characters, and it was a really dull scene. That same character has a bit of a near death experience and ends up having an intimate moment with another character, and that kind of fell flat for me. And I felt like it was trying to introduce too many characters at once, which I think it can work. Actually, I think Firefly's a great thing to compare it to in a way, just in the sense that Firefly has 9 main characters. It's an ensemble show with 9 characters. And when you watch Serenity, the pilot, right, which is a bit longer than this, about 82 minutes because it's a double 40-minute thing, right? Because there's 2 ways you can do this. You can focus in on 2 or 3 characters and then build out the rest later. Just have them be background cast, essentially, in the first episode or 2, and then get to them later.
Which is a valid approach.
Which is a fine approach. Firefly didn't necessarily. I mean, obviously, it had its main plot in the first episode because it was focused on the arrival of River and Simon, and of course, we're introduced to Mal as kind of the captain. So they were kind of the focus for the most part, and then everyone else was kind of, supporting. But one of the things that did really well, and this is partly coming from Joss Whedon, who of course created the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, is that his characters are so charismatic and have so much personality that with that, like 1 or 2 lines of dialogue from each of them, you get who they all are. And they're memorable enough in their appearance and in their 1 or 2 lines that you instantly remember, okay, the big guy Jane, he's very kind of dumb, but, burly and likes to fight. Right away you get 2 Shepherd Bookheads. Right away that you get Kaylee's this mechanic, but she's really sweet. You get all the characters very quickly, at least on a base level. In this, we have a lot of blandness.
The only character I could give, literally the only character I think I could give a personality trait to, might be the psychic, and that personality trait is just psychotic.
Yeah, I mean that's something. I guess the xenobiologist character, he Angus Sampson, who's like the one actor in this I actually know from. I guess I know the guy from Mindhunter, but I didn't really recognize him. Angus Sampson's been in a bunch of stuff. He's in the Insidious movies. He's one of the investigators in that.
Yeah.
But he's like very cynical and thinks, we're all doomed. The aliens probably want to kill us anyway. Which it's a fine. Obviously, it's a fine character to have. Have someone who's like thinking this is all for the worst and nothing's going to work. Sure. Yeah. It's the most memorable kind of character. In the sense of, okay, I can see how that'll cause some ideological conflict later on. A lot of the other stuff, though, it's like hinted that Carl and Agatha, who's the doctor who's there to, like, she's like a therapist for the psychic. It's hinted that they have a past of some kind romantically, but it's kind of vague. It never really gets into it.
Yeah. This seems like a really poor crew selection.
It's a rough first episode. I think it also suffers. I think they knew it was going to be aired quickly because even the ending doesn't really have much of a hook.
Either they knew it was going to be aired quickly, so just kind of treated it as a binge show, or Sci-Fi saw it afterwards and went, we need to just get through this, otherwise people are not going to stick around. Because I think airing it back to back each night, people might get through this. Not everyone, but I think some people will go, well, it's on tomorrow.
Not us.
Not us, no. But some people will go, oh, it's on tomorrow, sure, right? Whereas if it's on in a week, they'll forget.
Yeah, because I mean, it's fine. I don't even think we need a spoiler section for this one. I feel like there's almost nothing to spoil.
It's true.
There's like nothing to spoil, really. Is like some malfunctions happen on the ship, and the crew are ready to blame the psychic because they don't trust an L1 psychic.
Which, you know, just a question on the psychics. So there's this implication that all L1s are crazy and they're all evil because, you know, they talk about, you know, the previous incidents and that, oh, hey, he's an L1, we're not having that.
I feel like uneasy or evil might be.
Okay,
the way I took it was that because of how powerful they are, they're very unstable with how they handle other people's thoughts, and it leads to reactions.
He's actively trying to kill people.
Well, this one's got a bit of an attitude problem, but
yeah. No, but this is my thing, and we hear about the one that murdered all these people at that moon base. So I'm like, okay, are all the L1 psychics like this? Why? Like, I don't know.
But again, I didn't take it as they're all evil. I took it as almost like a Hulk type thing where they just can't control it and they get scared, and or like Carrie. Think Carrie, where you know they're put in a corner because they're different, and then they react. They get defensive.
I get what you're saying, but I did not get that at all from that performance.
Not from that performance. I'm going from everything else they were saying.
Okay.
If they're just all evil and there's nothing interesting, they're just evil then. That's dull.
No, I know, but that's kind of how it feels to me. It feels like, oh, they're all just evil because they're psychic, and we're just gonna have to have one anyway.
Well, no, because the point of this is clearly that they're all prejudiced against them, because one at one point reacted badly and it caused a lot of damage. So now they're all scared of them and they're all prejudiced. I'm not saying the show conveys this well. I'm saying this is clear what the intention of the writing is.
I think that would be a lot more effective if this guy wasn't clearly very unhinged and trying to kill the people on the ship.
I'm not disputing that.
Yeah. So it's not prejudice if he's actually doing it.
No, but it's prejudice up until a certain point in the episode. As soon as they hear an L1's coming on board, like they're threatening to leave the ship.
Yeah. That's fair.
That is clearly the attitude that they're going with. So I think that's the intention in the writing. But up until he starts trying to kill people, you kind of sympathise with him because he is kind of like just they assume he's horrible for no reason.
Yeah.
You just naturally as a human being sympathize. Well, that's you're a shithead yourself.
No, I agree. You do something to a point, but then it gets to a point where you go, well, I guess they were right. And it makes me assume all of the L1s are like this because this is what we have to base off.
I'll agree with that.
Okay, fair enough. This was how it came across to me.
Jesus Christ! I hope you're never in a situation where your opinion on this kind of thing matters. Jesus Christ! Oh, one bad apple. Oh, they're all horrible.
But it's not one bad apple, is it? There was an incident before, which
two
presumably...
out of how many?
No. But that was the big one. I assume there's more to have caused this, and then they're prejudiced. And I'm going, okay, well maybe they shouldn't.
I don't know if I agree with that. I totally buy human beings will take one bad incident and just use that forever.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe that's cynical of me, but I totally believe that.
I think either way, if that is the case, and then the first L1 we actually meet is also kind of crazy and wants to kill people, yeah, I'm on their side. This is all the evidence I am presented with.
I'm not on their side. I still think I think it's a combination of him being a bit of a shithead, the psychic. Also, there seems to be the idea that something else is already affecting the ship, right? Because there's implications of other psychic. Because there's people blaming him for things that he doesn't seem to be behind, and
things that apparently he doesn't have the ability to even do.
Yeah. So is the implication of something? I'm wondering if this other thing's also affecting him, especially. We won't spoil it, but just given the extreme thing that happens with the ending, I'm because he reacts kind of interestingly to that, where it looks like he kind of snaps out of it for a second, where he's like, "Wait, what just happened?" It's not like it's not like he really seemed to mean to do what he just did. So I'm wondering if he's been affected by the Vulcran thing. Velcro.
That's fair enough.
The Velcro's affected.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I think that's the thing they're going for. It's just been handled fairly poorly. But what I'm saying is that I can clearly see what the intention's supposed to be. I'm not saying they handle it well. I'm not saying they get it across, but I think the intention is very clear, just because it's dealing with similar things to other sci-fi shows with other sci-fi stories.
No, I get that, and but that is why I'm actively not giving it a pass. Just because I know what it's supposed to be, because I recognize the beats from other stories. What they are actually presenting me with is not that.
Well, I think I disagree to a point, because I can tell what they're going for, I can't take it as anything else.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes sense. And I'm not giving it a pass, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying they handle it poorly. But what I'm saying is that I don't think that just because it's not hitting the notes that it's trying to hit, because I can still see what it's trying to hit, I know what they're doing.
No, I agree with what you're saying.
Because it's playing with tropes, it's playing with things that we've seen before.
I understand what you're saying. I think my problem is it's hitting, at least to me, contradictory notes.
I never got contradictions. I just got, we don't know how to present this character.
Yeah,
that's all I'm really getting from it. And it's the most interesting conversation we're probably going to have about this. So I mean, I guess why not dive into it? But lots of bland characters. I found it very hard to get on board with anyone. I don't really care about the main guy's like weird relationship with his wife, who he's left on Earth, even though the daughter apparently died, and I mean, he's got a point that he's trying to save human life, because Earth is kind of shitty. There's disease and stuff, and he's trying to fix all this. It seems a bit of a long shot, but there's definitely here. In fact, you know what? It's funny because you were telling me about how you don't take how they're meaning the psychic to come across, and how our sympathy lies with him. Funnily enough, I actually have the same problem with the first scene we have with him and his wife, which turns out to be like a VR playback thing in the ship later, but. Which, by the way, I'll say this was kind of weird. I thought it was weird how it said 3 years later after that, because I wasn't sure if it was 3 years later from the memory playback thing, or 3 years later for everything we've seen already. Obviously, it quickly answers that when the characters who were the opening scenes, come on the ship, but
yeah,
I thought it was a bit murky, because it gave us like part of the future first, and
this
then went back.
This has quite a few time markers, doesn't it?
Yeah, a couple of weird things. But as the same way he's with his wife, and he's explaining that he's gotten permission to go on this trip to try and contact the Vulcro. Vulcran. So Ryn. Vulcran.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it wrong every time I say it for some reason. So he basically explains to her, and she looks really kind of like upset, because he says he's going to be gone for 2 years. And while logically, to go with a Vulcan, the way I'm thinking about it, it makes sense that no, it doesn't matter if he is like upsetting her, or in this scene we think his daughter might be is still alive. I mean, one family's unhappiness is kind of worth saving the entire Earth and the human race.
Yeah, it's something that should endear you to the character, in that he's doing a noble sacrifice.
Instead, the way it's written and the way he performs it made me sympathise with the wife, and made me think he was a terrible husband. Because it came off as his obsession rather than a noble cause.
Yeah, see, I can't argue with that. And this is where we interestingly we kind of reverse on the last time, where I'm like, well, I see what they're doing, so I didn't really question it.
But it really bugged me, because it immediately made me just kind of dislike him. Also because he was really bland, and then no scene he was in after this made me like him anymore. He's the blandest of the Blandy McBlanderson that ever came from Blandsville, bland United States of Blanderica, right? That is who he is.
Pretty much. I'm not going to top that.
Oh dear.
It's really disappointing.
Yeah. Because the opening scene was pretty decent, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll get into this. Maybe the reviews that have been kind of mixed will be off base. But
we've been completely against some reviews before.
Oh, we absolutely have. In fact, me and Tim just reviewed a movie in streams that has a very high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and we hated it. So I mean, it happens both ways.
Yeah.
It happens both
ways. We've done TV shows before where ratings have gone, well, it's not that good, and we've gone, no, this is fantastic.
Yes, foolish critics. They don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. We're not one of them.
No, we're the
choose your words carefully.
The regular working Joe's critics. If that makes sense.
It'll do.
I don't know. I don't have much more to add, to be honest. I mean, I've basically said my piece. It was plodding. It felt like it was trying to go for this mysterious kind of thing. The visuals were mostly, especially the exterior, the visuals were quite nice. And the production value feels good enough. I wish the writing and the acting were there to actually make it into something.
I can't fathom this having 10 episodes worth of content.
Yeah, the pacing. Honestly, this feels like something that may have been better as a 2-hour movie than a 10-hour TV show.
I agree, yeah.
Just based on what I've seen. And cut out half the characters, there's too many.
Yeah, focus in on a couple of them.
Yeah, so no. And the worst part is the whole thing with the VR thing, I've seen done better in a show that never get picked up. I've mentioned this before in some of our stuff, Virtuality, that Royal D. Moore did after Battlestar Galactica, which Fox put out as a TV movie after they decided to not do it. And a big part of it was that they had this VR thing on the ship they were on, and they'd used that, and it was really interesting because like a guy and a woman used it to cheat on their spouses, but in VR, and it was like, oh, is that strictly cheating in the same sense? And it kind of is, but it's like, okay, this is interesting. Yeah. It's different. It's new, but it made you like both characters even though they were cheating on their spouses, because it had fathom this character work.
I feel like it's been a while since we've seen that.
It hurts just a little bit more because of that. Because I'm thinking, 10 years ago I watched this great pilot that never went anywhere.
Yeah. It's disappointing. That's like 2 shows in a week that we've been underwhelmed by.
Yeah. I like 1983 more than this though.
Yeah, I did too, and I wasn't crazy hot on that.
We're trying episode 2 of 1983. We're doing that in a day or two. This is getting...
we're not doing episode 2 of this.
Out the airlock with this one.
Yeah.
Jettisoned. Yeah. Bye-bye. See you never. And now full spoilers for the episode. So at the end of the episode, the psychic sets the dude on fire, but it doesn't seem like he knows what he's doing when he does it. So there you go.
Fire's cool.
Those are spoilers. That's the only thing I can think of to spoil. I suppose the other thing I could mention is they play with his he makes the guy think he's holding up like a beating heart when it's actually so he'll drop it in horror, but it's actually a gun that he was holding. Yeah. I could see a potential in playing with that more down the line, but
yeah, the ideas of what the psychic can do, the way he makes them perceive reality and to make them essentially kill themselves.
Yes.
Is a cool idea. It's just not shot very well for the most part. Yeah.
The first time he actually does something, when they look at him, we get the stupid close up, and then we get this like quick shot of the red like world that he shows people, and then the guy just immediately starts hurting. It was so quick and kind of cheesy that it just made me kind of like groan. I was like,
Yeah. I like the idea. If you tell me, he makes them see things, and and that's how he controls them, or makes them do things it's not suggestion. It's more just no, they believe something else is happening.
Yeah. But hey, so shortest spoiler section we've ever done, bar none. So
I think it probably is.
That has been Nightflyers episode 1. We will not be continuing it, but by all means, if you've checked out the first episode, let us know what you thought of it in the comments. If you watched the whole thing, by all means, come back and tell us what you thought of the whole season.
And tell us how right we were about the captain.
Whatever's going on, he's not just a normal living person in that room.
No, they telegraphed it way too hard.
Oh, Joe, I could see him being like he's like half dead, like he's in a coma, and he's like hooked up to machines. So he's still a person, but he's not awake.
He's not as he seems.
Yeah,
100%.
I could see him being like that. He's in like an iron lung, and he's just projecting because he's You know. Anyway, so yeah, let us know what you thought in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. That does help us out a lot. Of course, you can help us out even more than that by going over to patreon.com/MailedFuzzTV and supporting us over there for as little as $1 per month. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?